Mr. Cam, good to have you here. How are you, my man?
Mario, it's so great to be here. I'm doing great. How are you?
Wonderful. Thank you for asking. Cam, can you tell us where you're calling in from? What kind of business do you run? And anything else that you feel is important for the viewers to know?
Sure. My name is Cam Baudouin. I'm in Toronto, Canada, and I put speakers on stages, entrepreneurs, coaches, professional speakers themselves. So I do lead gen for speakers. I get them booked on the stages that they want to be on in front of their ideal audience. That's what I do.
Amazing. A very important service. One that I definitely could see myself using.
Can't wait. Can't wait. I'm still looking for some. I know you're at the far tip of the world, so I'm trying to find you some local events.
So if any speaker is checking in now, watch out for Cam. He's your man. Cam, tell me, what's the problem that you would like to fix?
Okay, so I've been actually exploring CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, and one of the things. So I actually have a therapist right now, and one of the things that we left off on recently that keeps coming up is negative self-talk. Comes up again and again and again. I've had a very turbulent year until I actually found like a very good product market fit in what I'm doing now. So anything kind of before maybe like March previously, I was having a really rough time, very low point in my career. I don't know how much you want me to go into it at this moment. I have no problem sharing it, of course, because that's how we grow and we learn, right? But it was very low, and throughout the descent down into that say hole, a lot of negative self-talk, and I'm not shaking it for some reason. It's still there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I want to explore that a little bit.
Got you. Okay. So, first of all, thank you for being so open and courageous to even talk about this. I know this is not easy. A lot of people would never even talk about this publicly, let alone men. So, I really respect that. And help me understand. So, negative self talk, how does that show up for you in business? Like, how does it affect you? What kind of behaviors do you see? And how do they then affect your ability to get the kind of results that you're looking for?
I think the big thing is taking big swings. What ended up happening was I spent like all my life savings to build a business that failed, and I took lots of risks, very foolish risks, probably looking back. And I think what it's made me become is a little bit gun shy in like, I'm not taking the big swings. I'm not going out and taking the bigger risks that I was doing before. It's almost like I'm so trepidatious about moving forward in some ways that it's holding me back in certain ways. Like, I don't want to do this because maybe I'll lose again. I'll lose it all. Like the little gains that I've had in the past 3 months, which have been significant and very, like, it's looking good, but it's like I'm afraid because I skirted so close to so close to the water, like so close to drowning, that it was like I don't know if I'm ready to take that dip again.
Yeah, that's a very common kind of experience in the founder journey. Is like you've taken a hit, and now you become more careful. Now you become more calculated. And I'm curious, do you know, like, what would be maybe two, three things that you would be doing differently if you didn't have that fear of taking another hit?
Well, I don't think caution's a bad thing. Just in general, I think caution's actually a very wise thing to do. So, but I've seen some opportunities out there where, like I waited too long, or I didn't jump for it like I would have in the past. But that got me, like, it's a dichotomy, because you got to take the risk to go and create opportunities, but the opportunities that I tried to take advantage of kind of backfired and they failed me, right? And a lot of it, and that's it. So, but going even back to the original idea is like, all the problems that I created for myself, I beat myself up over it a lot, like a lot, like, shouldn't have done that. You're foolish. Probably more serious words than that. And in fact, the person that I was working with, my therapist, said, told me to go back into a journal that I wrote from about 6 months ago, 12 months ago. And I did, and I looked at it, and like, I shit all over myself in the journal. And it's like, oh, this is like, that's not healthy, because I would never talk like that to
Yeah.
any other human being on the planet except myself.
Yeah. Yeah. Help me understand, does this, so the core problem that we see is there are certain actions in your business that if you were to take them either one time or more consistently, you'd be moving forward faster, smoother, or even moving forward in ways that you would normally not be able to move forward.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the do you find any commonality between where you hold yourself back? Is it just all across the board, or is it specific actions inside the business?
It's it's all across the board. I've done a lot of work in like not being shy. Say, for example, outreach. I know a lot of people. I run a lead gen agency, so obviously, like, no problem doing the outreach itself. That tends to be fine. So, but maybe asking for more is probably a big one. Like, I'll take scraps instead of like
Ah,
being my full self and my full confident self and asking for what I'm worth. So that's
yeah.
probably a really big one, because after beating yourself up, like, your self worth goes down if you beat yourself up so much, right? Like, you feel small, so therefore you play small. If that
Yeah.
makes any sense.
Yeah. So if I translate that into business language for people that don't yet have the kind of awareness you do, because they haven't done the therapy work yet, you're not willing to raise your prices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you, is it also this sense of like you're talking to someone and then do you sort of like mentally you say yourself, I'm gonna charge that person X, or you even say it's X and then they say, no, that's a bit much, and then you find yourself like going down. Is that also an experience you've had?
I would also say it's yes, and it's probably even worse than that, where I immediately, as soon as I get them on the call, I'll discount them right away and say this person's not a good fit, and then I won't
Ah,
even try for the sale after that, and that
ah,
affects business, and because in the back of my mind it's like, well, they're not going to buy it anyways, you know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to work through that, and that's I mean,
hmm.
that affects in huge ways too, obviously, right?
Yeah, and I imagine, I mean, if you're even if you're booking a lot of meetings, a lot of calls, in they potentially have it to be qualified, your mind goes straight to nope, don't even
Yep.
try. Nope,
Yep.
doesn't matter,
Yep,
right?
yep. And I know it's
So
on me, right? Like, because while we want to find an ideal fit for a client, it's like I'm not even giving them the chance to make, even if they were a perfect fit or not. Like, like, we're not always going to
yeah,
get perfect fit people in our business, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't try to help them, to work them to help
right,
them get to the next level. Because you never know
right.
what might happen.
And so then also what I'm seeing as an opportunity cost.
Mm-hmm.
Not only are you losing a very good potential client here, but you're also wasting your time. You're
Mm-hmm.
just getting on
Mm-hmm.
calls with people and you could be doing other things at the same time, and you're getting on calls and nope, it's not worth it, don't go there, don't even ask it, and that just adds up to even more of no progress being made in the direction of your liking.
Yeah, and even worse than that, that becomes a vicious circle as well, right? Because I don't close the sale because I didn't try. The negative self-talk perpetuates, right? Because why didn't I try
Yes.
this? You're an idiot for not trying that harder. Why didn't you push harder? You could have done more. You're
Yeah.
going to disappoint, and then it rolls into even more. Like, you're going to disappoint the family. You're going to have to sell the house because you don't have enough money,
Mm,
and like, there's no proof that any of that would happen, right? Like,
yeah.
it's not a reality that you don't make one sale, then you got to, like, go live on the streets. That's like,
Right.
there's many, many steps before you get to that
Mm,
point. But your
yeah.
mind immediately races there and be like it's the worst case scenario every single time possible, which means that I'm less confident going to the next sale, which means I don't ask again, which means I beat myself up, and like that circle keeps spinning.
Yeah. Yeah. So it sounds like you just explained essentially the level of operation that you're on,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? Okay. Got it. Now, why do you do that?
Hmm. Um, how far do you want to go back?
Let's not make it a therapy conversation. Let's give me what's the story you tell yourself?
So I I try to hold myself to a high standard, and I think that's what I tell myself that I'm doing here. I'm
Uh,
beating myself up because I know I could do more, and I see the people around me. I try to surround myself with high achievers, and when I see them accomplishing, I look and it's a comparison. Why can't I should be more like, things like that. Like they're robots, therefore I should also be like robots and be able to at any time just like close a sale, do the thing I need to do, and like remove all emotion, right? Like, pretend to be the AIs, which, we're all trying to be, right? So I would say
Mm.
that's probably like the easiest way. Like I compare myself to others and it's like, if they can, I should be able to, and I'm not able to, therefore I'm not adequate enough, or I don't have the skills, or why aren't I, and stuff like that.
Okay, so there's two things that I'm hearing there. There is I'm I tell myself I'm holding myself to a high standard, and I also try to avoid any emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Because you just tell, like, isn't that what we all try to be, like the guy that has just no emotions, just like close, close, close,
Spock,
close, close.
yeah, and everything, right? Like it's 10:30. I should be doing this. They're like, cut off everything else, stop what you're doing, and change like right away. Like, yeah.
Yeah. So then, can we really call it a high standard?
Well, I don't know. When I look at high performers, I see that they are disciplined and they are, they have their life very structured and things like that. And then if I reflect that back to myself, and it's like if I'm analyzing myself, then it's like, oh, I see all these gaps in my discipline, or my self discipline, let's say, where I will maybe not do or not focus on the right thing at the right time, and therefore, then I beat myself up because of that. Like I should be able to, or like that's
Mm-hmm.
it. So I think there's a fine line between like having high standards and then being too strict on yourself, maybe, or like, yeah, I don't know. I feel there's almost like this parental thing, right? Where that classic story of parents being too hard on their kids or something like that. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
almost like that playing out in my brain.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you ever feel like you met your own high standard?
Mm. Um, if I look back, yes, because if I look back, it's easier to say like, well, at that time I did, but then my future self, no, if that makes any sense. Is that making any sense? Like where I
So
currently
yes
am.
or no? Do you ever feel like there was a time in your life where you met your own standard that you set for yourself?
Mm, yeah, no, not the present moment. Not while I'm right in that moment. No,
Okay, so you never felt that you met your own standard.
no.
Okay. What did that do to you?
Mm. I guess it makes me feel like inadequate.
Mm-hmm.
Probably the best way I could describe it. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm constantly in that feeling of inadequacy.
Hmm. And how does constantly being in this feeling of inadequacy show up in performance?
Mm. Can I say it shows up like everywhere?
Yeah.
In all relationships. Giving too much or not setting boundaries properly, and
Mm.
that's probably like a bigger discussion. But
Mm.
even things like what we talked about earlier on. If someone says ask for like a discount, a very common situation, I would just give into that instead of being like, actually, I hope like the prices are the prices because that's what I need to get paid to feed to feed my family. So if
Yeah.
I do this for any less, then I'm not being fair to my other clients. I'm also not being fair to my family. Like the answer is no. Like holding that line
Yeah.
is huge.
Yeah. So take a look, right? When I asked you, how does always living in this feeling of inadequacy show up in your performance? You said everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And then you went to, in my business, I don't set boundaries, and I don't, if I translate it, I don't tell people what I actually want. Or
Mm-hmm.
here's a
Yep.
discount, right? But you don't want
Right.
to give them a discount,
Mm-hmm.
right? So there's like, what I really want is this is my price. And if they say, I would like to have this price, then you say no. But instead, you keep saying yes.
Mm-hmm.
So you say yes to what people want and you say no to what Cam wants.
Correct. Yeah. And like I said, that's in many, many areas of my life. I could
Yeah,
probably psychoanalyze that to like multiple areas as well.
sure,
It's very easily,
sure.
very, very easily.
What do you worry would happen if you started to say no to other people and yes to yourself?
Probably going down that path of worst case scenario. Again, if I say no, that means I'll never get clients again. And like if I say no to this person, then um, uh, it almost like confirms
Mm.
like am inadequate. I don't like it's very weird to even say that, right? Because if I set boundaries here and they say no and they go away, right? Like, it's like I lost a client. Well, maybe I should have just given them the discount. Then at least I would have had
Yeah.
one more client and a bit more cash flow
Yeah.
inside the business, right? Like, again, it's almost like accepting scraps. Um,
So, in whose hands is your adequacy,
well,
your
mine.
worth?
Currently it's in somebody else's. I'm giving somebody else control.
Yeah. Are you okay with that?
Well, no, that's yeah,
But why do you keep doing it then?
yeah, habit must be habit.
Okay. Have you ever seen people have had a habit for maybe you yourself had a long ass time? My brother-in-law, he lives very close by. He smoked for 20 years and he smoked a shitload. He stopped from one day to the next.
Wow.
He
Mm-hmm.
never went back.
Mm-hmm.
Instant. No therapy. No, he read a book, right? But he got something. And I feel that's something that you're not allowing yourself to get because of the sheer magnitude of change that would come your way.
Maybe it's also fear of the unknown, because it's one of those things. I've always been that way.
Yeah.
I've always been this way of in like, again, personal life and everywhere. It's always just like yes man Cam kind of thing like that.
Yeah.
It's very pleasing everybody, stretching yourself too thin, and all
Yeah.
that stuff. And so I see it everywhere. Everyone what I
Yeah.
do. Yeah.
But here's the thing, Cam. The reason I say this to you, and I haven't said this to others, is because you have the awareness,
Mm-hmm.
but you're not changing it.
Mm-hmm.
You're still looking for answers.
Mm-hmm. I would say that in the moment, I don't even know I'm doing it. Like, I'm unaware in the moment. When I take a step back, I have a lot of self-awareness, but in that moment, I'm very much just like, oh yes, 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 sure, sure, sure. Okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
I get that.
Because I don't like that. I almost I almost don't even like the objection handling at the moment. It's not only an objection handle, but even, a partner, a relationship, anybody else who asks to step over boundaries, it's
Yeah.
almost like at that moment, I almost logic myself into the position of like, well, it'll be okay. Like, it's fine. Like, I said no, but
Yeah,
they say
exactly.
yes, and I'll give in to that instead of holding firm.
Yeah,
Does
but
that make
take a
sense?
look. You're still doing it now.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I asked you what this is costing you, you
Mm-hmm.
almost laughed. Oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, this, that. Super casual. It's just like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's costing me a lot of stuff. It's like a lot of y'all. This is why in the beginning I asked you. It's like, okay, so this is like a really big fucking thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't feel that you're yet connected to that.
Hmm. To the fact how big it is,
Yeah,
or
how much this is costing you.
interesting. Okay. Do I deepen the pain as a result of it? Like, I'm trying to understand, like, how would I find the motivation almost to touch the,
There's no motivation needed. Slow
okay,
down.
okay.
Slow down. Like, do you get, Cam, how much you're missing out by keep saying yes to others and no to you?
Probably not. Like, if I'm really honest, I probably don't know. I probably
Yeah.
don't know how much that's impacting me.
Yeah. Tell me about it. How's it impacting you? You're a father?
Yep.
Yeah. What example are you giving to your child?
Hmm. Yeah. Showing that, like, demonstrating that, uh, you don't need to almost have self-respect. Does that make sense? Because this is all like rooted, I think, a lot in self-respect, right? How
Yeah.
much do you love and respect yourself, even?
Yeah.
Probably demonstrating, pretty poorly that.
And you're okay with that? That that's
No, I
what
shouldn't
the
be.
no, don't go to should. Be real.
So whenever I get to these thoughts, it's always like, how adaptable can you be versus how rigid should you, like, that's always kind of like the debate in my mind, right? It's like, can you be adaptable? Should we be adaptable as people? Because Because I think so. I think there's opportunity. There's lots of times where we should be like flexible. It's
Come
like,
back
okay,
to me.
huh?
Come back to me.
What do you mean?
You're doing the same thing again. You're going back into all these. You're really good at that.
Yeah.
You're really good at that. But I like this is you running away from the discomfort,
Oh, interesting. Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's it's in, like you said, it's trained into you. It's a habit,
Mm-hmm.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
but that doesn't change it.
Mm-hmm.
So I want you to slow down. I want you to stay here.
All right.
I want you to stay with the example that you're giving to your. Is it your daughter, your son?
I got 3 kids, so yeah.
3, okay. And are you seeing it in them?
Yes, in one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that not hurt you?
Yeah, it does. And I try to be as strict with him as I am with myself, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Take a moment just to let that sink in.
Mm-hmm.
That the same thing. And where did you learn this from?
Oh, for sure from my dad, who he
Okay.
himself exhibits the same behaviors in certain
Okay.
ways. But it was also like he was very strict himself, military man,
Yeah.
and he would say he like I would do this to avoid the like him coming down on us as kids, but like, oh, I would just
Yeah.
yes to whatever. Like, oh, dad's blowing up.
Yeah.
Quick, just do whatever you can
Yeah.
to avoid the anger, the resentment,
Yeah.
the discipline, whatever. Like he would come and come
Yeah.
and
And
rain down on
how
the
did
kids.
you feel in that moment when that happened?
Oh, well, the avoidance helped me. The avoidance of uh, not setting boundaries helped me avoid pain or confrontation. That's better. It
Yeah.
helped me avoid confrontation.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Did it help you avoid the pain, or did it help you avoid feeling the pain?
Both. Definitely both, because I would avoid it. I would just yes to whatever to avoid whatever was going on,
Yeah.
and it would never be
Where
dealt
was the
with,
yes,
right?
yes, that's coming from? The yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes was coming from a place.
Mm-hmm.
And was that place a place of pleasure and a place of love and peace?
No, it was a place of like running away and escaping.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the pain.
Yeah, fear. Yeah.
That's the pain that's making you avoid and making you run away.
Mm-hmm.
And it's still doing the same thing today.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
And what I'm inviting you to, Cam, is courage.
Mm-hmm.
This is uncomfortable. This is scary. This is like, I don't know what the fuck's going to happen if I open that box. Is everything going to fall apart, or is what will change? And oh my God, and I got a family to feed, and all of that. It's all there. But what I want you to consider is that it's already not working.
Mm-hmm.
You already don't have the life that you worked so fucking hard to get.
Mm-hmm.
You're holding yourself back from that life because you're scared of that life. Because that life would require you to say no,
Mm-hmm.
no, 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 yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes, yes. And that's the transition that you have to go through. But right now, Cam, I'm inviting you to say yes to the pain, because the pain is a part of you as well. And that's not an intellectual thing. That's slowing down. Let's slow down. Let's just be with the pain. Where in your body do you feel that?
Oh, right here in the chest, like right in the middle.
Yeah.
Even in this conversation, when I was replaying some scenarios, it's like right here and like right in the middle.
Yeah.
But because you're right, I intellected away very quickly.
Yeah.
And I've had people comment on that, like, "Oh, you're very good at being introspective." And I think you mentioned that earlier in this as well, right? Yeah. You're very good at like being self-aware. Yes, but in the moment, I just move past it too quickly.
That's what I'm saying. It's become a shield. It's become a bypassing agent.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I used to do this. I went through tons of psychedelic retreats, work with shamans in the Amazon. The last The last ayahuasca ceremony that I had in the Amazon, I had a Jesus encounter.
Hmm.
And I'm not a religious person, but I'm a deeply faithful man. And Jesus came and said, "You're done seeking. This is the time to be."
Hmm.
And I was like, "What am I seeking?" Oh, I'm seeking the answers to my pain
Hmm.
instead of feeling my pain. And so ever since, I've been sitting with my pain and learning to embrace it,
Hmm.
learning to break down the mental barriers that have all the reasons around pain. It's like, this is bad, this is wrong, this is scary, I don't know what's going to happen. And there's a process that you're probably familiar with. It's called surrender.
Mm-hmm.
You surrender to the pain. You said, okay, you are a part of me. Show me. Show me what you were here for in life. What's your role in my life? Teach me.
Mm-hmm. I guess I'm thinking about now is the how. Because if I identify the in the moment when I avoid so quickly that I don't
Yeah.
even give myself a chance to feel the pain.
Yeah.
So it's like, because it's usually in a negotiation, a high stakes moment when people,
Yeah.
when tension is high,
Yeah.
and I don't take that moment at that time to be like, whoa, what do I really want here? Like, what's
Yeah.
the moment? So, any thoughts on that? Like,
Absolutely. It is the simplest thing in the world, but it also the scariest. All you do is you sit down, you let the pain come up, you just think about the situations like I showed you now today, multiple of them, and you pinpoint it and you
mm-hmm,
point it at and sit here in your chest.
mm-hmm,
And then you close your eyes and you bring your attention to it.
mm,
And you just sit and wait. And your mind is going to come in a million times. Oh, and you keep sitting. And the longer you sit, the more uncomfortable it's going to get and the louder your mind gets. That is the infliction point. You keep sitting, and the pain eventually will come through.
mm,
And that's when the emotions are coming up. That's where people pleasing is. There's a lot of anger. There's like decades of anger. I can guarantee you there's decades of anger in you. Every time you go pretend to be the good guy, oh, it's fine, oh, it's fine, oh, it's fine, oh, it's fine. Meanwhile, there's a part of you who's like, I just want to fucking kill someone right now. And it's like, no, 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 behave, behave, behave. And underneath that part, there's probably a pool of sadness, of like decades of never feeling heard, never
mm-hmm,
feeling like I got what I wanted, never feeling like I was worthy of my own yes.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
And what I would say for you, Cam, is begin spending time with physical sensations. Less journaling, less figuring out, less talking about it. Look, therapy it can be a great tool. It has led you where you are now, but now you are over intellectualizing. You need to get into your body. You need to get into the felt sensations of the body. That's where the emotion is.
mm-hmm,
And if you do the reps, eventually it'll come up. And that's when you start to sort of like touch the reservoir, and you go down deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And with the deepening of it, you have more psychological safety. At some
mm-hmm.
point, your mind feels safe enough to open up and let it go.
Got it.
And another tool that I would highly recommend to you is breath work.
Okay.
Not breath work to pump yourself up, but breath work to go deeper.
Mm,
Those are probably anywhere from like 30 to 60 to 90-minute sessions. If you go to the 60, 90-minute spectrum, please do it with a trained professional, someone like myself, breathwork facilitators, in person. I'm sure where you are, there are in-person events.
mm-hmm,
They tend to be on the cheaper side, and I would make that a priority, because that will help you get to the emotion faster and safer. And once you break through the emotion, what happens is you let go of the fear. Of the fear is the whole suppressing element,
mm-hmm,
and it can come out. And as it comes out, you will have a much easier time to say, no, I'm not going to give you that discount.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm not going to do that. No, I'm not going to do that. And you're going to be tested because everyone knows you as the yes man. And when you start becoming the no man, people go, what? But. And then that's where you have to keep standing up for yourself again and again and again and again until it becomes a new habit. And then you're going to sign people with more money.
Yeah.
You're going to say yes to the bigger opportunities, and you'll finally be rewarded for all the hard work that you've been putting in for so much time.
Sounds great.
Any last question for me?
No, I think that's really good.
Beautiful.
Thanks, man.
You're a brave man. Really. I know this is hard. I know I don't say this lightly.
Because it seems so easy, right? To say no. Or it seems so easy to say yes. It's way easier to say yes, right? And then you overload. It's so easy. It's so easy in my mind. Yeah. That's the work, though.
Yeah. But that's where the self-compassion comes in. Like, yes, I may make it sound easy, but for you, for having lived inside that, and I can so relate to the people pleaser because, man, I have been people pleasing for a long time. I know exactly what that's like. And it feels like your whole world is falling apart if you say no to people and you say yes to yourself. So that's where the self-compassion comes in, where you say, okay, I said no and I'm sweating and I'm shaking. Well done, me. Well done, me. That's the courage. And then you do that another time, and you do it another time, and you do it another time. And in time, this will form a new identity. And at some point, you will know this is natural.
For sure. For sure.
Beautiful. Does this feel complete?
Yep, it does.
Wonderful. Cam, thanks for playing, and I'll talk to you soon.